and welcome to Film versus Book Online Lesson. As we've been reading Harry Potter and now starting the Hunger Games in class, we look at a few similarities and differences between the text and the film versions of these classic stories.
Our objectives with this lesson is to identify these differences and fully understand the impact these changes have on the overall story. We will look at how and why these changes are made through a couple recent examples. First, we'd like to discuss this with a book and movie from outside of class that some of you may have seen, but is one of our personal favorites.
Oh man, the book and movie were so different. After reading the book, I saw the movie in theaters and I was taken by surprise.
I know, I definitely did not expect that ending at all. But I guess it added an element of surprise and it allowed the director and screenwriter to kind of do their own creative thing with it.
I agree, but they lost the message that the author was trying to convey.
Yeah, definitely. The movie lost the emotional impact when the sister who was expected to die actually dies.
Exactly. In the movie, they lost the message of how fragile life can be when they didn't show Anna, the healthy sister, dying in the car accident.
I know. Well, let's take a look at the two endings.
Okay.
Here's the chapter in the book we're going to look at. Anna's head hit the window with great force, Mrs. Fitzgerald. It caused a fatal head injury. A respirator is keeping her breathing right now, but she's not showing any indication of neurological activity. She's brain dead. I'm sorry, the doctor says. I really am. He hesitates, looks from me to Sarah. I know it's not something you even want to think about right now, but there's a very small window. Is organ donation something you'd like to consider? Campbell is the one who actually answers the doctor. I have power of attorney for Anna, he explains, not her parents. He looks from me to Sarah, and there is a girl upstairs who needs that kidney.
Now we will look at the ending from the movie.
My sister died that night. I wish I could say that she made some miracle recovery, but she didn't. She just stopped breathing. A few days later, I got a surprise visitor. Hi.
Somebody here wants to see you.
Hey, Judge.
I brought this for you. We won.
Here is a way that we organized looking at these differences. Start with the common chapter in the book and scene in the movie and create a Venn diagram to see the differences. In the book of My Sister's Keeper, Anna, who is the younger and healthy sister, passes away in a car accident in the midst of her trial filing for medical emancipation from being a donor to her older sister Kate, who has leukemia. In the movie, Kate passes away from the cancer before the trial is over, but Anna wins the trial anyways. Here are a few of the impacts we mentioned before. We took a closer look at why the director may have made these changes as well.
Now let's see you try this with the book we just finished in class. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Let's take a closer look at chapter 31 when Harry is solving the last task in the Tri-Wizard Tournament.
Keep these questions in mind as we read the text and watch the scene in the movie.
First, let's look at the text.
It was a sphinx, It had the body of an over-large lion, great clawed paws, and a long yellowish tail ending in a brown tuft. Its head, however, was that of a woman. She turned her long, almond-shaped eyes upon Harry as he approached. He raised his wand, hesitating. She was not crouching as if to spring, but pacing from side to side of the path, blocking his progress. Then she spoke, in a deep, hoarse voice. "No," she said, continuing to pace, "not until you can answer my riddle. Answer on your first guess, I'll let you pass. Answer wrongly, I attack. Remain silent, and I will let you walk away from me unscathed." "Spire, spire," said Harry, pacing up and down. "A creature I wouldn't want to kiss. A spider!" The Sphinx smiled more broadly. She got up, stretched her front legs, and then moved aside for him to pass. "Thanks," said Harry, and amazed at his own brilliance, he dashed forward. Cedric looked around just in time to hurl himself past the thing and avoid colliding with it, but in his haste he tripped. Harry saw Cedric's wand fly out of his hand as a gigantic spider stepped into the path and began to bear down upon Cedric. "Stupefy!" Harry yelled, and the spell hit the spider's gigantic, hairy black body, but for all the good it did, he might as well have thrown a stone at it. The spider jerked, scuttled around, and ran at Harry instead. "Stupefy! Impedimenta! Stupefy!"
Now let's take a look of the third task in the movie.
Yes. Thanks. No problem.
Pause the lesson for 5 minutes as you set up your similarities and differences Venn diagram and discuss why this happens and the impact that it makes.
Just to recap what you just wrote down, here are a few key differences that we notice between the scene. In the book, Harry Potter encounters a sphinx where he must solve a riddle. The riddle inflicts a spider to attack Cedric, but Harry uses a spell to help release him. In the movie, there is no sphinx, and instead of a spider attacking Cedric, there are giant roots that Harry must use a spell on to help release him. Yes, these differences are small, but it changes the mythical aspects that J.K. Rowling presents in her books.
These types of changes are made for time constraint reasons and to match it to the style of the film. The director and screenwriter worked to omit the stuff that didn't have a big role in the book, but could cut out time with a similar scene in the movie that still conveys the same message.
I learned so much today.
After My Sister's Keeper and Harry Potter, I feel as if I can really identify the differences between text and films.
And understand the impact it has on the plot and why the changes were made.
Now, for homework, as we're finishing reading the third book of The Hunger Games, we want you to see the movie in theaters and compile a similar analysis.
Identify the differences, the impact it has, and keep in mind they split the third book into 2 movies.
We look forward to discussing the differences next week.